Everyone, this video details the facility layout vendor project for Dingxing, David, Jack, and Anthony. We chose to study the pharmacy at UPMC Presbyterian Hospital. The pharmacy is responsible for filling and delivering any drug orders requested by doctors. Our contact at the pharmacy is Jack's mother, who was able to allow Jack into the pharmacy during the night shift to gather data. To collect our data, we sent a team member into the pharmacy to observe standard operations and take notes on the routine procedures of the pharmacists, as well as take measurements of the space. From there, we developed flow charts for each of the different types of med orders. While these were important for our analysis of the system, they were more process-focused instead of layout-focused, which limited their usefulness in our facility analysis. After we measured all the dimensions of pharmacy and we using Visio draw this original layout.
After we developed our layout, we spoke to staff to determine problems that existed in the pharmacy. The first problem we have listed deals with the anteroom and IV drug flow. This next problems 2 through 6 deal with storage issues that are seen in the pharmacy. The photo on the right shows IV materials scattered under the batch workstation. The photo of the cardboard box stacks shows excess IV materials that are placed in the robot room by the day shift. The robot's peak hours are during the night shift, and the stacks of boxes are a problem for the staff stationed there. The picture on the left shows the front of the pharmacy cluttered with carts. This happens often as people leave their carts in the front upon returning. The tape on the floor does not designate this as a cart storage location. Rather, it was left over from an old system that is out of date. The picture on the right shows the IV batch carts. This is where the pharmacist stores the batch they produce all night to be delivered in the morning. These carts hinder the flow of the IV room and are too close to the wall. We modeled the problems pictured in the previous slides to see how the changes we made would affect the overall system before the changes were implemented. There were many constraints inside the pharmacy that made major changes difficult. The pharmacy was located in the middle of a hospital, so moving the floors and ceilings was out of the question. The IV room had many constraints attached to it, meaning that you could not move the clean room. The IVs had to be dropped and picked up in buffer rooms between the IV clean room and the main pharmacy. Staff was unable to be added, and narcotics must be kept in their own room under lock and key. We would recommend to the pharmacy that they convert the break room into a storage area. This will designate an area for cart storage, recycling, and excessive IV supplies. We would also recommend that they improve the IV workflow. They can do this either by reversing the current workflow or by adding a system to allow technicians to know that a drug is complete. They also could reorganize the pneumatic tube stations to make it easier to ship stat drugs.
The next issue we face with our design is issues with flow in the IV room. As the current flow stands, workers start in the anteroom where they receive orders. They then go to med carousels to pick up the separate pharmaceuticals needed to make the IVs and head back to the anteroom. Here they will prep the bags and drop into an airlock. Once it's dropped in the airlock, they have to wait for the IV drugs to be prepared and then walk to the vestibule for pickup. If the IVs are ready, they can drop it off to be delivered. Unfortunately, more often than not, the IVs are not ready and they have to walk back to the anteroom to continue their work. This causes a lot of extra time to be wasted walking back and forth between the vestibule where they could be working. To resolve this issue, we swapped the locations of the pickup and the drop-off of the intravenous drugs. Therefore, the pickup will be in the room where they are working and they will see when the drugs are ready instantly. This table displays the difference in distance traveled between the two setups. As you can see, the original setup has a shorter distance for the scenario in which the IV drugs are ready on the first visit to the vestibule. Any added visits to the vestibule, however, makes the total distance greater and makes the new setup a more viable option. It would make more fiscal sense to add a closed-circuit television so that the pharmacists could monitor when their drugs are ready live via screen instead of having to walk back and forth to the vestibule. Our research shows that this addition could save anywhere from $6 to $48 per shift and only cost $150 total to add the TV. The next improvement to the pharmacy we found to be useful would be an update to the pneumatic tube stations. These stations are used to send first doses and high-priority medications throughout the hospital. The current stations are unorganized and inefficient. We felt a few simple updates would vastly increase the organization of these stations. The first update we suggest is to relocate a neighboring sink. This would allow us to slide over the fridge next to the station, which will increase room for preparation of the pneumatic tubes to be shipped. This extra room would allow us to install wall-mounted bubble wrap holders, wall-mounted tube holders, and a wrapping and packing station to prepare the tubes, which can then be shipped. This will reduce clutter and allow the shipping process to be much easier.
To improve some of the flow paths in the original layout, we made the decision to move the refrigerator pictured in the top left corner next to the one pictured in the left middle of the screen. We didn't like that it was not located near the other refrigerators and that there was excessive backflow, especially with the blue flow path. Now pictured is the refrigerator flow path for our new layout. This layout reduces backflow, and keeping the refrigerators closer together will also save time for the pharmacists and technicians when looking for a specific drug. When we looked at the flow paths, we found that the modified layout was not that much of an improvement over the original layout. However, it does go well in tandem with the changing of the location of the pneumatic tubing stations, which makes it a worthwhile change. The current break room has an area for people to eat and heat up food located within the pharmacy. There are, however, other break rooms throughout the hospital that would be available for use during the night shift, the closest of which is only a 50-second walk from the pharmacy. We designed two potential layouts for the storage room. The one on the left includes a table and chairs so it could still function as a break room if need be, and the one on the right sacrifices the break area entirely for even more storage space for carts. Converting the break room to a storage area would add between 134 and 155 square feet of additional storage in the pharmacy. Here is a finalized layout that incorporates all of these changes we made. For assistance on this project, we'd like to thank Dr. Brian Norman, Valerie Prosser, Marissa Katrufis, and Jessica Kanonj.